Hello, reader, viewer, listener, however it is that you are consuming this particular kind of content. This is BiblioFlyer. This is a creative space. It's a series of essays that I'm also transcribing into short video content. It's fairly low effort video content. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Mostly taking the form of, my half-baked slideshows. And this is a space for me to try to create a kind of commentary about the science fiction and fantasy fandoms, such as Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, etc., and how that intersects with our culture in a way that is less hysterical and angsty and grandstanding than you would normally find out there in the web. I'm frustrated by two specific phenomena, and those are the things that are really motivating me here. The first thing I'm frustrated by are these very lazy, clickbaity, commercialized sites that just sort of churn out these low effort posts. A lot of it is based around harvesting a couple of spicy tweets and creating a controversy out of it. And then using this manufactured controversy in the form of an article to create still more controversy by inciting a toxic comment section and then perhaps using that as the feedstock for still more writing about supposed controversies in fandom. And there are some real controversies. People react to things differently. I understand that. And it, of course, is this toxicity that is the second thing that's really getting under my skin. And I just want to try to model, to the extent that anybody ever actually sees this or listens to it or cares, a different way of thinking about this stuff. A more nuanced way, a way that's sort of rooted more in the tradition of constructive criticism, rooted more in literary criticism and analysis, and less in just these sort of drive-by, low-effort posts in which the idea is to be as performatively outrageous and angry as possible. I find that incredibly insufferable and annoying. I'm as guilty as anyone when the internet was young of being addicted to anger. And then I found it consumed too much of my time. It left me constantly refreshing and checking my phone, wanting to see how people responded to that snappy comeback. And now I'm a real adult with a real adult job, and I have to actually care about how I present myself online. I don't want people to see the real me and think, wow, this guy's a jerk who gets really worked up and fights with people online about the stupidest stuff. Did you see that latest show, movie, etc., that everyone hates with an incandescent passion and other people loved uncritically? Were you just sort of whelmed by it? Was Captain Marvel just sort of okay? Not the pinnacle of the MCU, but definitely watchable. Was the choice to have a sort of Clint Eastwood type character who's very laconic and doesn't really emote much, was that a valid choice? But also you can kind of see where you can run into trouble with this sort of character in that it forces the film to rely on flashbacks and musical cues to show what the character's thinking and how they're feeling. Maybe you feel like Sigourney Weaver's Ripley is an example of a woman pulling off this style of character well. And for whatever reason, Brie Larson just kind of missed the mark. If you're aware of your own aesthetic biases and you don't project them onto other people, and generally find it frustrating when people conduct themselves boorishly online when talking about their fandoms, you've come to the right place. Fear not, the Captain Marvel reference is bait. I have more complex thoughts about what works and what doesn't regarding the character and the movies, and very little interest in how the actress conducts herself in interviews. A problematic relationship with fandoms is not a problem, but at the same time, let's give credit where credit is due in this messy, chaotic, and frequently venomous internet of ours. It is often very challenging to identify the thoughtful, constructive critiques amid the pile of accounts with portraits of predominantly white men repeatedly typing the word feminazi. Good faith critiques exist. I will not say at all that every last Marvel Cinematic Universe production is flawless, that The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, was perfect. These aren't flawless productions, and there are still healthy, respectful ways to take issue with art. But there are also a lot of trolls, and I think we ought to put on our psychic armor and be mature enough to recognize when the people associated with these projects call out people who are behaving problematically. It's probably not about you, unless you're the person arguing in bad faith. When the targets of criticism and harassment clap back, we should apply the same reasonable person standard to their reactions that we would want them to apply to those of us who are approaching this from the position of wanting the stuff they enjoy to be better. It has to be said, though, if you hate, loathe, despise Brie Larson or Captain Marvel, want the film eradicated from canon or the part to be recast, this is not for you. If you are exploding from the need to rush to the comment section and talk about just how terrible Brie Larson is or how awful it is that Rings of Power stepped all over Tolkien's vision by introducing black elves or making them arrogant and flawed. Look, this isn't going to be a productive conversation. This series, these essays, this blog, it's dedicated to people who want to talk about their fandoms, starting from a place of appreciation for the blood, sweat, and tears that go into these works. Chill out, dude. And statistically speaking, yeah, you're probably a dude. It's just a movie, and Brie's a person with feelings too. If you think Mega Corporation X needs your feedback on why they have made a terrible misstep, you can take more than 5 seconds to think through your commentary.